Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another take of Zooming with Kaymitch. I have a special caller on, old strength coach of mine that's going to give us great insight. And so, without further ado, let me go ahead and get him added on here. Hello.
What's up, Kayla?
Hey, so nice to see you. It's been
Right?
yes, yes. So happy to have you on. So, without further ado, thank you for joining me, Kaymitch. I'm excited to have you on here and to, hear your great insight. And so, without further ado, why don't you go ahead and kind of introduce.
No problem at all, Kayla. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to see you again. My name's Austin St. Cyr. I'm the Associate Strength and Conditioning Coordinator here at Lamar University, which just basically means I'm full-time basketball. So I do everything strength and conditioning wise. I'm at practice. I also like to take a part of the nutrition. We're lucky enough to have a full-time registered dietitian on staff, so I don't have to step out of my scope too much. But it's a little bit of what I do here. Other than that, I mean, fire away.
All right. First question. How big of a factor does physically being in shape kind of help shape your mental health?
I think it's a huge factor. Not so much the act being in shape, but what it took to get there.
Mhm.
I think the weight room and or physical activity is one of the easiest ways to stimulate adversity in a controlled environment. And a lot of the time, battling adversity is where we come up with the tools that we need to get through, everyday life, and what some would call "quote unquote" mental toughness.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it's an easy way to get small wins, and small wins build confidence and being able to cope with adversity or cope with just unknowns.
Right. Right. I feel like as an athlete, it's so hard to mentally kind of break that barrier of like being in shape and then also like trying to get in shape. Like getting in shape is tough. Being in shape is just mentally just, staying at that same plane. But mentally trying to get there is always like where that adversity hit. And that's where, you come in and help us. So with that, how do you help shape your players' mental health?
So I think a big thing is just setting goals. When anybody sees a goal in front of them and sees themselves attain that goal,
Mhm.
obviously is positive reinforcement. Obviously, if that goal took adversity to get through, we're again building resilience. So being able to set small goals for them to achieve, to know that maybe you thought this wasn't possible before, but now you're here, right? Teaching to cope with failure as well. There's going to be times where you don't hit the weight that you wanted to get to, or you don't jump as high as you want to. And what are the things you could have done differently to make sure you got to that goal? Or if you did everything knowing that that goal is now even closer, we may not have got to it now, but it is
Right.
closer where it's within reach. I like to say, review the past to view the present, because a lot of the times over those 4 years, you don't really see how much you grow from day to day. But if I can say, this is what you looked like and jumped and
Uh,
benched freshman year, and then this is where you're at in year four, it's just night and day. And watching that really click for the kids is kind of why I'm in it.
I like that. I like how you use that analogy. And like you were saying, it's so hard to kind of figure from the beginning, like, man, you think, man, have I really grown that much? But like when you go back, maybe even from 2 weeks from now, it might be only an inch, but you're still improving. And a lot of people with goals, they see like either it's a hit or miss, but now you can recognize like, why did I not make this goal? What can I do moving forward to try to attain that goal? So that's great that you help shape your players' mental health in that way. Next question, kind of what is the biggest misconception to you surrounding weights and basketball training?
I'd say this is a two-parter for me. The first one is the one you hear all the time, is that basketball players don't need to lift.
Mhm.
Everyone's always talking about how their professional friend doesn't lift that much, and they're at the peak of their career. So I think that's a common misconception. I think that lifting just isn't about excelling on the court. It's about being able to stay on the court. Because a
Right.
lot of the times, if we're and this kind of leads into my second part. I guess I'll touch on that. Thinking of basketball training should only be sport specific. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times on social media or things, you see very basketball looking moves, but done with a band or done with a weight. And when we do those things, we're utilizing the exact same muscles that you use every day in practice or every when you train on your own. And we're underutilizing the muscles that you don't utilize when you do those moves. And if we're over and over and over using and unusing,
Right.
using and the gap just grows bigger and bigger. And when you get put into an uncomfortable situation, let's say you go up for a layup and you get pushed in the air and you want to land comfortably. Now that's a position where some of those muscles that you never used before have to
Right.
get turned on. Otherwise, you're going to land very awkward. And once they get turned on, they weren't exposed for a long time. So that's when, it results in some kind of pull, tear, or something like that. So I think if more young players think about the fact that we're not trying to turn you into power lifters. We don't need you benching 315 pounds, right? But we do want to make sure that you're balanced from front to back, from right to left, and making sure that you're just available for your whole career is the biggest thing that I think weight can help for a basketball player.
I'm so glad you say that because I don't think a lot of younger people realize how important weight training is, not just correlation to basketball, but just as far as, like you said, being healthy, being able to work out those muscles that you probably never really hit before until it's time to, like you said, activate them. And so I meet so many high school players, like when I ask them about like, do you lift weights or whatever, they're like, no. And I'm just like, well, why not? And they think it's just basketball is just literally basketball, but it's just so much more. And so that is a big misconception. They think like if you lift in weights, you're gonna be 300 pounds and got big muscles, but it's about attaining those muscles, not really about all that extra. But it's just a misconception that we all just see and hear. Next question. How do you kind of emphasize recovery days and how do you reset your players?
So I always like to give an active recovery session. When we are in, our 8-hour weeks where we don't have as much practice time, those sessions are usually optional. This is usually in the off season where we're really focusing on the work capacity. But once we get into season, those sessions become mandatory. So we'll have 2 actual weight sessions, and then the third session will be active recovery. So that consists of obviously, stretching and things like that, but yoga movements that require, active range of motion or mobility. A lot of the times, there's research coming out that if you can calm down the central nervous system, that can help with recovery. So there's different variations of music you can listen to or sounds that have a calming effect that can help kind of turn the your nervous system from the fight or flight side to the rest and digest side. Another big thing is just emphasizing and supplying nutrition. A lot of people forget that everything we do in the weight room, everything you do on the court is breaking down your muscles. And if you don't have the proper nutrition to rebuild them back stronger and better, they're going to continue to break down. You'll lose muscle mass, you'll get weaker, and you're just putting yourself in a more likely position to come out with some kind of injury.
Yeah, I like how y'all have a dietitian because nutrition is a huge aspect too, like being on the court and being healthy as well. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm doing good in weights and basketball, but they eat terrible or their sleep habits are bad. And so it's just like when you see a top tier athlete, they focus on all the components and making sure they drink a shake before and after workout or making sure they get enough sleep so they'll be well rested for the next day or the next game or whatever the case may be. And I know you was always really big on grab a shake, grab a shake. As much as I hated, I had to make sure I grabbed one. But it's just that like those, like you said, nutrition is definitely a key component to just, resetting yourself and your body and making sure that you're ready for the next practice and everything. Last question. How was it seeing the players in that Southland Conference tournament last year? I was rooting for y'all so hard. I love Lamar and everything. So I was just screaming at the TV.
Appreciate that. It was like a dream. A lot of coaches get into this profession because you want to impact individuals. You want to see their hard work pay off, and them getting to the tournament and getting to that final game was me being able to see those things in real time.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of kids forget that, you know, you've come so far from
Mm.
day one to day four. You know, sometimes we forget that as coaches, you know, how far our vision has come. You always have this vision for your team or for your kids of where you want them to be. And really being able to sit in a moment and say, you know, we've kind of gotten there, was like a dream. But, you know, we came up short, and that thing is still on the tip of our tongues a little bit. So we'll be coming out swinging this year. You know that.
Yes, I already know. I know you getting them ready. I know Coach Aqua getting them ready. So I'm so excited to see, how y'all would do this year. I'm rooting for y'all, and I wish you the best of luck. And I really appreciate you tuning in with Zoom in with Kaymitch, and I will definitely be in touch with you. Thank you so much, Coach Austin.
Thanks, Kaymitch. Best of luck. Great talking to you.